We head down to Baltimore for a high-flying matchup between the 3-0 Johns and the 2-1 Dubs. This one was a letdown for the fans, as the Dubs beat the Johns like he was a Republican running for Senate in California and had the Johns yelling, "Stop the count! Stop the count!" Captain Kirk finally came up small in this one as he William Shatnered all over himself against the Browns.
I'm more of a Star Wars guy, boom.
Aren't we all, Siege? The Dubs go marching to the state capitol behind Austin, Texas Eckler, and yet another shutout from the stout Buffalo defense. What could possibly go wrong for the Dubs? The Dubs in a boat race, 162-88. Fumble!
For this one, we go down to the ATL for a matchup of the Ophers, FSL versus Burnt Toast. Which one of these teams will come out on top and avoid falling to 0-4? FSL called this one his lock of the week, which takes some big balls. The new acquisition of Tyreek Hill paid off with the Cheetah almost laying a 50-burger on the Bang Bang Bird Gang. The running back duos tried to make up for it for Toast with big 20-point games, but that just wasn't up to snuff. The wide receiver QB combo for FSL goes for 90 points alone and wins one for SB. FSL 136, Toast 80.
Off we go to the land of the Yinzers to find the Fat Cat visiting the Tough Luck Toon Squad. Unbelievable! The bad luck continues. The Fat Cat, also known as the greatest show on turf, put up a stunning 164 points to further cement his name as the pride of Percy. The Fat Cat...
Hang on, Boom. Think you only scored 64 points. Think you read that wrong.
Wait, he really only scored 64? Oh, okay. Well, a 13-point performance from Hunter Henry Ford was the most combustion to be found on this Model T of a franchise. I was under the impression that goats were mammals, but we saw one lay an egg on Sunday night with Tom Brady. Even with a bad game from TB12, Toon was still able to Dawson knocks up the Fat Cat like a drunk sorority chick on spring break. Toon in a date rape, 94-64.
A good matchup here between Luch and Horton in Fishtown, PA. Kyler and Dak both went off to basically cancel each other out, so it's up to the rest of the teams. McLaurin continues his love affair with Heineke and throws a down 30 on Luch. But solid games from the backs kept him in it. James Robinson and David Montgomery finally came alive and combined for 40. This one came down to the wire, but the difference was with the star tight ends. Waller snagged 15 on Monday night against Kelsey 6. That was enough to put Horton over Luch, 129-121. Fumble!
We head out to Seattle for the siege of Stapler Place between Teflon Don and the hard hitters.
Nagro lives in Seattle now?
Who knows anymore, Siege? This one was a bit of a rock fight, but the MVP of the week was Saquon Barkley as Nigro dog walks Teflon to a frightening 1-3. A menial effort from the Teflon Don was highlighted by Chris Godlew's, and I would walk 500 miles Sanders continues to fall down at the door. I'm starting to think the kiss of death is real, Tej, and actually both of these teams may sort of suck. Nigro in a tickle fight, 103-85.
And now down to the frozen tundra of the Downingtown B-Dubs for a matchup of unbeatens, Time In versus the Lows. Mahomes piled it on in garbage time for Time In to put up 40, but also not far behind, Najee Harris is capitalizing on the fact that everyone else on the Steelers is hurt and laid a nice 20 spot, but not so fast. The Buffaloes had the one other guy on the team that can run, and Deontay went off, putting 24 up on Time In and putting Time In reach. But in the end, a clunker from Thielen caused him to come up short. Time In 118, Bus 110.
Some spread.
Who would trade away Tyreek Hill before his 50-burger? Let's go to that team and see how he fared in Summertime Shy for Big Daddy AE versus the Cool Cats. The Cats got out to the roughest of starts with Baker Mayfield putting up 0.9 points. Jalen Hurts still put up some numbers in the blowout to the Chiefs, which outscored them by 28. And speaking of that trade, who did BDAE get for Hill? Edmonds and Debo looked amazing as well, both combining for 52 points, showing everyone that it's a trade that benefited both teams. In the end, Clifford needed about 80 from Henry against the Jets to overcome Baker's sub-1 game. He did get it. Big Daddy AE, 145. The Cool Cats, 104. Fumble!
All right, welcome to Week 5. Hope you enjoyed the Week 4 fastest 2 minutes. JB, how are you doing today, sir?
Brain's a little mush, just getting back from a pretty big drive and a little cat nap. But yeah, ready to get into to week 5 here. I think we had a good week 4. A lot of I don't know, a lot of things shaping out. Some 0-4 team or some 0-3 teams getting their first win. Some teams getting their first loss. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on in week 4. So
yeah, I got my first win. I didn't think it was going to take until October to get my first win, but I'm not going defeated this year, so that's at least something to be happy about.
Yep.
Well, let's get into transactions. There's a couple big names. The clear biggest one is Damian Williams with David Montgomery going out for what seems like 4 to 6 weeks is what I've kind of seen. People are saying 5 weeks, which I feel like it's either 4 to 6 weeks or to say 5 weeks seems like incredibly specific of
right.
How do you know it's right 4 to 6? Sure.
Yeah.
Time in was $71. That is the new bid to beat, passing Eli Mitchell at 51. I think Damian Williams is pretty good. I think with Justin Fields, they're probably going to be more of a run first team to try to protect him, and I think he's going to be a solid RB2 for the next month. And Lucinator bid 67, which Bears running backs are that's his identity is Luch and Bears running backs. It's
Matt Forte,
peanut butter and jelly.
Right.
And he just missed out. Fat Cat at 54. Zach, you got to open that wallet up, buddy. Toon Squad for 15. Come on. It's not going to work. So a lot of bids. Time comes out on top. I think he's going to be a solid RB2 for the next month, at least.
Yeah, I think especially now, it's getting to that point where barring this is where the crazy injuries happen. So now it's kind of this is where you have to spend your money and you don't want to really finish the year with anything left in the tank. So yeah, I think it's only a 14-week season. So I think this is a good time to spend the bucks.
I did get a couple messages from people this week with a little giggle going on, saying, why is the only 4-0 team in the league spending $71 for a 4-week fill-in at running back? People saying maybe Tyler should have holstered that money because he's in a really good spot. But in my opinion, is when you can get a starter that's going to be a starter on your team, I think you take it no matter what your record is. So I think it's a little bit of time man hate. That's good. It's like COVID. It's going around the league. It's spreading. So Time Man won. A couple messages came to the league office, but they'll remain nameless.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his running backs, though, now just looking at him, I mean, he needed it. His two other backs his 3 other backs are Sony Michel, Naheem Hines, and Jamal Williams, all basically number 2 guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, even though he's 4-0, he needed some RB help. So I think that makes him a pretty scary team here for the next 4 or 5 weeks.
Is Time Man at 4-0? Is he a house of cards or is he for real?
I think Williams makes him for real because I think he was in trouble of falling off if he didn't have a good RB2. Now the fact that he could have who knows if Williams is going to be a good RB2, but you have kind of the bell cow now for a few weeks. I think that really helps him out. If I was looking at him with, Naheem.
You throw around the word bell cow a little too liberally.
Yeah, who else is in Chicago?
A bell cow to me is Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, every down, really good. That's when I think bell cow, and you've now called Damian Williams, and who'd you call last week? Mike Davis?
I think it was Davis, yeah. I mean the only show in town, I guess sure. Not the bell cow, because they're not getting even though he's the only guy in town, he's still gonna get less than 15 carries probably.
Right. He'll still probably have a 70% share, 75 or whatever. But
right.
No, I agree. I think Time Man, it's been Mahomes has been carrying him, and Najee Harris has been getting it done through the passing game. And you look at the running back production this year, even you have Kamara, I have Cook. They haven't done a whole lot for us.
Nah.
Derrick Henry's been, the best running back. McCaffrey's been hurt. All these high-end guys. Zeke's been okay. He's bounced back.
Yep.
But Najee's right there, and it's through some smoke and mirrors that I don't know if it's totally sustainable. I don't see Big Ben playing 16 games this year. I don't know. So
right.
Anyway, the last point I wanted to make on transactions before we kind of go off on the tangent. Thought it was kind of funny that AE got cuffed for yet another defense. on the C bid $6, Fat Cat bid $6, and Fat Cat has the worst record. So that also happened between me and AE last week. As it turns out, it was Tennessee defense who got beat by the freaking Jets. So you saved $7, AE, because they didn't do a whole lot for me.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of funny.
So yeah, Fat Cat got New England over him.
Yep.
Yeah, looking at it now, nothing really else to look at really in terms of waivers. I think those are kind of the only two. A lot of little small pickups here and there, but.
All right. Well, let's hop into it. Let's talk some matchups for Week 5.
Let's do it.
We're going to start at the top. Fantasy Sports Legend versus the Fat Cat. I'm favored to win 134 to 117. Zachy coming off a really ugly Week 4. But, I think this is actually going to be closer than the projections look. And I think right now there was a blurb today that McCaffrey may play in Week 5. It seems like it's still a bit of a long shot. And then on the other side of the coin, there's Dalvin Cook, who is like apparently nursing this ankle injury and isn't fully healthy, and like all the stuff you just like hate to hear that he's going to be dealing with this all season rather than just taking a couple of weeks and getting healthy. So if McCaffrey plays, I think it makes it a lot closer, because I have to start like Latavius Murray or Eli Mitchell, which I would absolutely start Latavius over him until I can see Eli on the field.
What do you think about Singletary?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd vote against the Chiefs.
Yeah. Chiefs
I don't know.
Defense has been awful.
Yeah, they have. I just would prefer. I think Latavius Murray, like shadily got 18 carries last week, 60 yards and a touchdown, and they're playing the Colts at home on Monday night. Latavius Murray seems like he's starting to take over the role. Like it may not be too long until he's starting for me, like locked in.
Yeah.
If he continues to get that many carries on the Ravens.
Yeah, I think you go if Hubbard is Chuba is out because of McCaffrey. I think Latavius, when you're getting 18 carries from a guy, that's huge.
Right, especially they're big favorites on Monday night at home. He should get a nice workload, you would think. So even if McCaffrey plays, it's not. I may start Latavius over Chuba anyway. We'll see. But I have a big Thursday night tonight. I got Russell Wilson and Tyler Higbee going in the Thursday night game. I have, biblically bad luck on Thursday nights, as many people know. So I'm just hoping neither of them like completely shits the bed. And matchup wise, the one thing that I think is in my favor is that Herbert and Mike Williams play Cleveland, and Cleveland has just been like a fantasy dead zone to play against. They just they run the hell out of the ball. They shrink the game. They shorten the game. They keep the ball out of the other quarterback's hands. Like I'm sure you watched Kirk Cousins last week, and I was watching because of Dalvin. And like every time I looked up, the Browns had the ball.
Yeah.
And it'd be 3rd and 2, and they'd get it. And then 3rd and 4, and they'd get it. And you're like, my team never has it. I'm not going to score any points. So I think that's kind of a bad matchup for Herbert, even though he's been fantastic. But it's going to come down to Sunday night, Diggs and Hill, in what should be a high-scoring game between the Bills and the Chiefs. I think I have too much here. Zachy's struggling. I'm going to take myself. I'm going to 2 and 3.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm actually going to go Zachy here. I like I do agree that the Cleveland is kind of a fantasy dead zone, but I think Williams had a clunker last game. He only had 2 points, but he's been lighting it up. So I think he's going to have a nice little bounce back game there. And I like his running backs. Sermon had 19 carries last game. I think he's still the guy in
Eli is probably coming back this week though, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. No one really knows.
All right. I'm gonna roll Fat Cat here. I think he's gonna and he might have Claypool starting as well. That could be if he moves Jacobs up for Sermon and then puts Claypool in, looks like he's gonna play. I believe so. That could be kind of a game time decision for Fat Cat. So I'm going to take the upset here and Fat Cat rolling over you.
All right. We got a big time matchup here going to the next game. Tie Man's All-Stars against Tony Horton. Tie Man favored 140 to 135. The folks at Yahoo are expecting this one to be a shootout. Mahomes versus Buffalo. Buffalo D has been really good, but I think Mahomes is just kind of matchup proof. I don't expect. I think the Bills defense is definitely playing better, which is encouraging, but I don't think by any means they've become a shutdown unit against like top offenses.
Yeah.
I do think the Bills are good at limiting big plays over the top, so they'll try to take that away from Kansas City. But last year, Kansas City just ate us alive in the short and intermediate passing game, so I don't think that's that bad of a matchup. Horton, Kyler Murray against San Fran. I mean, Kyler is becoming matchup proof at this point too. Played the Rams last week and had 27 and they won. They look like maybe the class of the NFC right now, maybe the class of the league. And he's doing all this with some pretty quiet Darren Waller games. He got in the end zone last week, and he's still been really good. I don't know. Najee plays Denver at home. This is a hard one. Allen versus Cleveland. I'm gonna take Ty Man. I think Corey Davis versus Atlanta is a good matchup. Najee at home versus Denver should be okay. Hawkinson versus Minnesota should be pretty good. Yeah, I like Ty Man's matchup, so I'm going to take Ty Man. What do you think?
Yeah, I like Ty Man too. I think the Damian Williams ad is a good one. I think that's going to pay off for him. I think I'm selling Hunt. He has 3 touchdowns in the last 4 games. I don't think he's going to get one. I just think he's kind of due for maybe due for a little Chubb touchdown there instead of Hunt getting in the end zone. So, I'm going to roll with Ty Man. I think he goes to 5-0, which is crazy. I think he does it.
All right. To your own matchup, why don't you talk me through this one to start? Jones versus Big Daddy AE.
Well, I was flying high the last few weeks and laid my first egg. I think Cousins going to Detroit. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game, so I think he'll get back on track, put up a lot of points. We have Metcalf versus the Rams tonight.
Ooh, you're pretty invested in tonight's game as well, huh?
Yeah. I love having 2 guys on both sides of the ball.
That is like one of the greatest things in fantasy. Just plus every minute you have a chance. Right.
Like, at any point can have a 60-yarder or whatever. So that's gonna be a fun one tonight.
That's me with Diggs and Hill on Sunday night. I have the same situation where I can't wait to watch every snap of that game for more than that reason, but that's going to make it even more fun.
Right. It's the best having guys, especially when it's the only game on and it's like Thursday night, just like relax on the couch with a beer and watch. And
I have a question for you. Why did you start Darrell Henderson last week?
Yeah, I was just worried about I was just reading stuff on him and they were just like not really sure what his shares might be. It could be in. Ty Johnson had a really good game the week before, or not a good game a week before, but he had some catches, and I was just like, I could see him getting 8 points. Yeah, 3 points, but I was like, I could see him getting 5. I was just like, I just don't want to get shut out by Darrell Henderson, and it sucked because he looked really good last week. And
you're clearly starting him tonight, I would expect.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, for sure. I noticed that and changing it, but I'm probably going to do that right now. But yeah, starting Henderson. I was pissed because he looked, I guess good that he looked awesome last week. And honestly, I don't think it even mattered. I got smoked anyway by the Doves putting up 160. So, no, I'm liking my team in this. I think, to be honest, Gesicki, I'm glad I stuck with him. He's had 2 awesome weeks with Brissett, putting up
he's been really good.
16. So he's been good. Pittman looks to be, a solid number 1 in Indy. He's getting, 8 receptions, 6 receptions. He's getting per game, so he's been looking good. And my team kind of had a clunker last week, so I'm looking for a little bit of a pick me up. I think Kupp and Metcalf. I'm expecting that game to be pretty high scoring tonight. So
let's hope for an absolute shootout tonight. That would help both of us.
Yeah. And then
who scares you about AE's team?
AE's team, he has a good squad. I think Debo, he's been a stud. He's when he's averaging 10, 11 targets a game, it looks like, almost 8 receptions a game, 7, 8 receptions a game. So might just be a certified stud, not like a question mark anymore. Like, oh, what's Debo going to do? Like he's the guy there. Jalen Hurts has been putting up big numbers. I like AE's team. It looks like Damian Harris has fallen off a little bit, but definitely scared going up against AE. I think he could put up 120 to 130 and make this a shootout for sure.
I was shocked to see New England's a 9-point road favorite over Houston.
Wow.
That means if they're playing this game in New England's 15-point favorites. Like the Bills were 17.5-point favorites. I don't know. The gambler in me wants to take Houston +9 in that game. Like I don't know. That feels like way too many points for a New England team that's been very average.
Right.
And I don't know. That was a little sidebar. And yet, I mean, listen, I agree with Debo. And one of the biggest pieces of that trade is I got Debo for $2. And if Debo is seeing 12, 11 targets a game, I think could be a fantastic keeper for AE. And the only problem is it comes a little bit at the expense of George Kittle, who's also on his team, and has really started off this year slow. Like he still hasn't scored a touchdown. For whatever reason, this guy doesn't score touchdowns as a tight end. It's absolutely makes you want. Like I've dealt with this the last 2 years. They don't target him in the red zone. It makes no sense. And the same can be said of Jacoby Myers. A-Rob has been a massive bust. I honestly, I don't know how you can start him at this point. Like he has Tyler Boyd. I guess T. Higgins is playing, so it's probably not as exciting, but I would probably find a way to get A-Rob to my bench at this point. I don't know. I don't trust him at all.
Yeah, and honestly, you could really make a point for Schultz as well over Kittle. I mean, it's tough to sit Kittle because he's got such big play, but Dalton Schultz has been a stud. Dak looks for his tight ends. Him and Blake Jarwin are both like really good tight ends this year. So might be a time to put Schultz in. I mean, last 2 games he's put up 26 and 17 with 6 receptions, 8 and 7 targets. Like I don't know. At what point
he's got some lineup issues this week, and like also Hurts versus Darnold.
Yeah.
Like Hurts is getting a little disrespected with 16-point projection because like the lowest he's scored all year is 18. He's on 35, 18, 22, 29. And then he's playing Darnold, and Darnold's gone 22, 22, 26, 33. AE's got a lot to prey on his lineup this week because I think he could roll out a bunch of different looking teams.
It's like putting a running back, best rusher in the NFL, in Sam Darnold. He has the most.
Yeah, exactly.
Most
like Josh Allen light.
Yeah.
I think AE's got enough options to take you down. I'm gonna take AE in the upset since you picked an upset against me.
It's gonna be. I knew that was coming. It's gonna be a tough one. I'm nervous about this one, and the last thing you want to do, starting off 3-0, I was feeling myself, and then when you go into a mini tailspin to 3-2, sends off a few little alarms here and there. But so yeah, I definitely need to get this one. So yeah, I'm going to take myself. You're taking AE, and we'll see what happens. I think this one's going to be closest one of the week, though. One of them.
Okay. All right, Teflon Don versus Luchinator, another good matchup. Teflon Don has fallen to a scary 1-3. He was my preseason kiss of death. I thought his team was really explosive, and he's been okay. I think he ran into a couple tough matchups, but Miles Sanders is absolutely killing him. Aaron Jones is just like the king of inconsistency. Like he's one of those guys. He'll get you that 40-point game, and then he'll go like 4, 17, 11, and you paid $70 for him.
Yeah.
And some days it's just Aaron Rodgers' day to throw to Devontae, and Jones is an afterthought.
Right.
CeeDee Lamb's he had a bad week last week. He's really come off the boil, and 23, 17, 9, 3. He's gone down every week. I do think Kyle Pitts this week with Ridley not making the trip to London. I think Kyle Pitts will have a big week against the Jets. James Conner has actually been kind of good. He has 18 and 20 the past 2 weeks, just vulturing all the Chase Edmonds and all the Kyler Murray touchdowns, which, I mean, Kyler could have gone off even more if Conner doesn't score 4 touchdowns in the past 2 weeks. On the other side of the ball, Luch is getting going. He's got a pretty well-rounded team. Michael Carter at running back is a bit of a weird one. I guess he lost David Montgomery and lost out on the Damian Williams sweepstakes. I think you got to put Cole Beasley in your flex against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I like Luch here. I think Luch has good matchups.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Luch has a good team. It looks like Zach Moss is getting going in Buffalo. He's had a few good games for a team that doesn't run the ball. I mean, 14, I will say they were mostly complete blowouts. So we'll see if that's the same thing, if this Chiefs game is, I assume, going to be pretty close. So maybe that's a little bit of a fugazi, 13 and 14 attempts for Moss because, you know,
I think you're spot on. I think like
yeah,
this Buffalo running back core is so game script dependent that if we play a bad team and blow them out, it's going to be all Moss.
right.
But if we're trailing the Chiefs, there's not going to be a whole lot of Zach Moss in the game, and Singletary maybe catches 5 passes or something.
Yeah.
So I think you're spot on with that.
Yeah, so that Moss, I mean, with Michael Carter getting 13 carries last game, getting a touchdown, maybe you throw him in for Moss against AT since he's going against Atlanta, and then you throw Beasley in the flex. Could be a good option for him. But no, I like Dak against the Giants this week. I think he's going to go off. You have Jefferson against Detroit. James Robinson found a little bit of something. He's been good. Tennessee stinks.
Yeah.
Their defense is bad. And then Robert Woods, you know, I feel like anyone on LA with Stafford. Stafford's kind of they're getting work in for him, so he's been playing well. So I think he's going to get some collateral damage there and put up a decent number, whatever it may be. So yeah, I'm going Luch here. I think he's got a good team, and if he makes some roster changes, I think it could even be a little bit better.
All right, we're on the same side again. Let's go. Toon Squad hard hitters. Why don't you lead us off?
Let's see, waiting for my computer to load here. Toon Squad versus the Hitters. Toon Squad, best 1-3 team. He was obviously a best 0-3 team last week, and then he won. He's got a good team. You have JN with an empty spot. Not sure what he's going to do there. He doesn't have with Gronk being doubtful. I guess he could get rid of somebody. I'm not sure who he could. I mean,
you could probably drop Van Jefferson, and it wouldn't create a riot in the streets.
Yeah, that's true. Jefferson did have a good game last week, but yeah, there's no place for him. He's got Hardman and Ridley. He's pretty stacked there. So yeah, whatever tight end he picks up, I'm not even sure what's on the wire. But I mean, Toon Squad his team is pretty damn good. It's tough to pick against. He has. Lockett has been playing great. Adams has kind of rounded a corner. He didn't have a touchdown last week, 6 for 64. Not bad, but he's always dangerous. Cordell Patterson has been awesome. He's like the guy in Atlanta. Knox.
What about the bell cow?
Huh?
Mike. What about the bell cow, Mike Davis?
Patterson's the new bell cow.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I think, Nigro should be excited. Saquon's getting going after starting slow. It looks like he may have gotten an elite running back for $50, which sitting at 2-2, you're fine. You're totally fine. And now you have Saquon that you probably got for a $20 discount. And Swift's been really good. Tannehill, he still has this weird quarterback issue between Tannehill and Carr that he has to decide between every week. And they're both not like fantastic.
Right.
And Ridley's now out, no tight end. Yeah, I got to go Toon Squad.
Yeah, I mean, the Hitters they have a good team, but I think Toon Squad, he's one of the highest scoring teams in the league. He shouldn't be 1-3. I think he deserves to go to 2-3 with that team. Antonio Gibson had a good game last week. It says questionable. I don't know much going on there. I assume he's fine. I assume he's just a little banged up. Nothing big, but yeah, I think he kind of keeps rolling. Patterson, Knox has been great for Buffalo. I think he'll get some work against Kansas City, and yeah, I think he rolls over the Hitters.
All right, the 3-1 Buffaloes against Clifford's Cool Cats. Yahoo has Christian McCaffrey in there, projected 20 points. I think that's a little presumptuous. It feels like he's not going to be back this week. But we shall see. Kipper, Adam Thielen's coming off a bad week. Deontay Johnson had a huge week. Going up against the Cats with Lamar Jackson against Indy, which is, I think, a fantastic spot. But Lamar Jackson's only scored over 20 fantasy points one time this year. Is 19, 36, 14, 16. Our scoring system just penalizes poor passing stats, and he's had a little bit of those kind of issues.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper finally got back on the board. It looks like Chris Carson's going to miss tonight. Looks like he's on the wrong side of questionable. Derrick Henry against Jacksonville. Oh God. I'm taking Cool Cats. I don't think McCaffrey plays, and when McCaffrey doesn't play, Kipper's team is pretty pedestrian in my mind, and I'm of the mindset they're going to be cautious with him and hold him out another week.
Yeah, let's see. Deontay's obviously playing well going against Denver. Not too worried there. Denver's got a good defense, but we'll see if Claypool plays. I don't think that even hurts Johnson that much. Being the number 2 guy there, he might even be ahead of Claypool, how he's been playing. David Johnson, he's going to get you 5. Man, I don't want to agree with you again, but I think, Clifford's just, Cooper, hopefully he's kind of rounded a corner. He finally got in the end zone again last week going against the Giants. That's probably going to be a high-scoring game. AB came back. He looked good after being off a week for COVID and being on COVID protocol. And then Henry, even last week, it's like another too good to be, almost so good it's bad matchup against Jacksonville. But he had 157 and a touchdown against the Jets. Still looked really good. I'm going to roll Clifford here. I think Clifford pulls it off. I like his team. We'll see what Carson does here on Sunday night. He kind of had a rough game here last week, but I think especially with McCaffrey, I would go with Kipper if McCaffrey was playing, because I think he would put up 25, but and match Henry. But I think Clifford gets it done.
And it needs to be said that we all need to collectively laugh at Pender for starting Baker Mayfield over Lamar Jackson last week. Not that Lamar Jackson crushed it or anything, but dude, just like that's getting a little too cute. So
yeah,
that was a shitty decision, Pender. Bad boy. Don't do that again.
It is crazy though, like you said though, it's crazy how much looking at our scoring and the QB scoring. I don't know if I've just noticed it this year more than anything, but like if you look at like just like a Justin Herbert or Cousins or like one of these guys. Where you look at his points and it's like 32, 28, 26. And then you look at Lamar Jackson, who, he's not maybe having the greatest year, but he's still, people pay a lot of money for him and he's having 19, 14, 16, 30. You're like, man, it really benefits you to get a good passer, which is pretty cool. I don't know, like I said, if I'm noticing it more this year, just because looking at the points more, but I think it's really having an impact. If you get a bad passer, you're screwed.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the idea, right? Is a guy like Kyler or even like Josh, right, who runs for touchdowns, but they still complete passes at like a 65, 70% clip. Yeah. Like if you can find that guy, like that, those are the most valuable players because they're still efficient passers, but they also have that Konami code where they can run the ball. Yeah. But when you get Lamar is not as much of a, accomplished passer as some of these other guys. So it knocks him down when he goes, 17 for 33 or something. You're going to get negative points, whereas Kyler is going to get, added points. So I think it just levels the playing field against rushing quarterbacks, which is kind of like a weird little cheat code that now that more quarterbacks do it, I think we were, smart to put it in place because it just, I don't know, doesn't make it so one-sided against like the traditional pocket passers.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's definitely been noticing it more and more.
All right, final one of the week: Dubs versus Toast. Dubs coming in is pretty big.
Not giving him any respect, like Rodney Dangerfield.
What's that?
Dubs has been roasting us for not giving him enough respect, like Rodney Dangerfield.
Really interesting. The funny thing is, Brett texted me the other day and he goes, "Hey, how much is the payout for high score of the week, and when do I get it?" And I was like it's the end of the year, and it's $20. And I was like, "Wait, have you never got one of these?" It's like, we've been doing it for 3 years, man. So congrats to the Dubs. I think he's got 2 of them this year. Yeah, I thought that was really funny that it was just a complete mystery to him as to who wins these and where this money goes.
Oh, the Dubs back getting roasted.
I mean, listen, I don't even need to say a word. I've been picking against Toast all year. Nothing's going to change here. He gave me a little bit of a fright with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jonathan Taylor both having good games. And I was sitting there at the bar going, "Oh my God, I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose. I'm going to go to 0-4." And thankfully, Tyreek saved my life. But the Dubs is one of the most well-rounded teams in the league. DJ Moore's been awesome. Hollywood Brown's been really good. Even with those drops, like he's still been awesome. Last week, 4 for 91 in the touch. Eckler's been fantastic. people were worried about Zeke, and he's just gone 17, 26, 20, exactly what you're paying for with him.
Yeah,
Jamar Chase has been fantastic. Like, I don't know. I'm not picking against the Doves here and against a Toast team that I don't think very highly of.
yeah, no, the Doves they put up 160, have put up 160, I think 2 out of 4 weeks for a reason. I think his team, Rodgers is looking like he's been doing well. Actually, he's actually done worse than I thought. 32, 22 and 19. But I think he's going to, I think against Cincinnati, he's going to put up a pretty good game. You had DJ Moore against Philly. Philly's defense kind of shows that they've been, usually it's a shootout in Philly against the Birds. So, no, I just like his team. Eckler has looked really good against Cleveland. Again, who knows? But he's looked great the last week. He had 2 touchdowns, putting up 20 points a clip. So, yeah, I just think the Doves are too good. Toast, A.J. Brown has been a serious letdown. I mean, he has been injured and all that kind of stuff. He was injured last week. Even when he wasn't, he's just
always injured.
Yeah, and
he's like a glass cannon. Like when he's on the field, he's a monster, but he's just always dealing with something.
Right. Jalen Waddle as his wide receiver too. Don't really love that. Jonathan Taylor looked good, but the matchups again. Clyde Edwards-Helaire against Buffalo. Buffalo defense has looked really good, so I'm not expecting
against
much
the run, especially.
Yeah. So.
And Taylor's at Baltimore. Like it couldn't get worse than that. Noah Fant at Pittsburgh. His best matchup is probably A.J. Brown if he plays against the Jags. Yeah, I mean, there's just not enough here. And Doves is flying high right now. Yeah. What could possibly go wrong for the Doves,
Right.
I'm just going to say that all year.
I'm going. I think he gets it done.
All right, let's get into our lead pipe locks of the week. I'll lead us off. I'm going to start with the fantasy league. I'm going to take myself over Zachy. I am destined to get to 3-3. It's going to happen. Zachy's struggling. I don't like his matchups. I completely ripped him on the fastest 2-minute drill. I'm getting cocky at 1-3. I'm taking myself 2 weeks in a row. And then in the league, I think I've just decided for these pick shows, I'm going to just take underdogs and unders because that's all I've taken so far. And I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. I'm going to take the Texans catching 9 at home against the Patriots. I think that is way too many points. Davis Mills has been horrible, but too many points. The Patriots, who are the Patriots? Like, I think that's insane that they'd be 15-point favorites against them. And then I'm going to take the under in Dolphins Bucks, which sits at 48. I think that's a bit of a rock fight. The Dolphins defense and secondary is still pretty good. I think they'll keep Brady and the Bucks, hemmed up. I expect the Bucks to win this game, but Jacoby Brissett's not going to be able to do anything against Tampa D, and I think 48 is too rich. I think this should be closer to 43, so I'm going to take the under there.
All right. I'm going to roll with the Doves. I'm going to give him the respect. I think Doves rolls over Toast. Like I said, I'm just going with the hot hand here. Doves has been really good. He just
the squeaky wheel gets the grease. He's crying about lack of respect.
Yeah. I mean, when he rolls over me, I put up a clunker. I'll give him that. But when he doubles my score, I got to give him a little bit of respect for putting 160 on me. I'm rolling the Doves, sending Toast to unfortunately an 0-5. Doves going to 4-1. As far as a little bit of betting locks, I've been pretty rough when I haven't looked at the lines. I'm going to go take an easy one we're talking about. I'm going to go over in tonight's game, which is the Thursday night game, Rams versus Seahawks, over 53.5. I think it gets off to a fast start. I think they put up a lot of points. I think that is a pretty big line, but which tells me I think Vegas knows that they're going to be putting up some points in Seattle there. As far as I think it's in Seattle.
Yep.
As far as the lines, I kind of hate doing this. I hate doing this, but I'm gonna go Buffalo +3. I think the Bills are really freaking good, and I think the Chiefs defense stinks. And last week, the Eagles played them really tough, and then eventually they just kind of fell off, and the Chiefs, started throwing it deep and, just kind of threw it on in garbage time. But I think the Bills defense, I think right now they have the entire package. Their offense looks good. Their defense looks good. And I think we're catching the Chiefs when we want them. A little early. Their defense hasn't picked up. They're not playing that great. Even Mahomes and stuff like that early on in games, he just doesn't look like he's all there. And then, he eventually finds it. But I don't know. I think it's a good time to pick them. I like being underdogs with the Bills. And, I'm rolling Buffalo +3.
All right. I love it. Go Bills. Well, that's the show. JB, good luck this week. Gentlemen in the audience, let's have some fun. Let's win some money. Let's stay healthy. Commissioner out.
JB out.
Peace.